Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, checking your bank account, and seeing the numbers are exactly the same as they were yesterday. But when you go to the grocery store, a loaf of bread costs $50. When you go to the gas station, filling your tank costs $400. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie or a sci-fi novel. This is the mathematical certainty facing the United States dollar. Everyone is asking, when will the dollar crash? But I'm here to tell you that looking for a future date is the wrong approach. The crash has already happened. The death certificate has already been signed. There's a specific date that marked the end of the American Empire, and most people didn't even notice it passed. By the end of this video, you will know exactly when the dollar died, who killed it, and, most importantly, what you need to do immediately to protect your family from the fallout. Before we peel back the layers of this financial cover-up, I need you to make a small move that could make a big difference. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and uncover the truth that the mainstream media refuses to cover, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. We are building a community of critical thinkers here, and I don't want you to miss a single update as this situation unfolds. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's look at the evidence. Chapter 1, The Illusion of Stability. To understand why the dollar is dead, we first have to understand why you think it's alive. You use it every day. You get paid in it. You pay taxes in it. It feels real. But this is what economists call the illusion of stability. It is like standing in a building that is burning down, but because the fire hasn't reached your specific room yet, you think you are safe. The reality is that the foundation of the US dollar was smashed to pieces decades ago, but the dust is only just now settling. We need to talk about the debt. You hear the number $34 trillion thrown around on the news, and it sounds like just another big number. But let's put that into perspective. If you spent $1 every single second, it would take you 32,000 years to spend $1 trillion. We owe 34 times that. This debt is mathematically unpayable. The US government is currently borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money it already borrowed. It is a Ponzi scheme of the highest order, and like all Ponzi schemes, it relies on confidence. As long as the world believes the dollar is strong, the game continues. But what happens when the world stops believing? That is exactly what is happening right now. Chapter 2, The End of the Petrodollar. For the last 50 years, the US dollar had a superpower. It was called the petrodollar. In the 1970s, the United States made a deal with Saudi Arabia. We promised to protect them militarily, and in exchange, they promised to price all their oil sales exclusively in US dollars. This was a masterstroke. It meant that every country on earth needed dollars. If Japan wanted oil, they had to buy dollars first. If Germany wanted energy, they needed dollars. This created a permanent artificial demand for our currency. It allowed us to print money without hyperinflation because the rest of the world absorbed our excess cash. But that agreement is over. The exact date that many experts point to as the death of the dollar is tied to the expiration of these strategic agreements. Recently, we have seen reports that Saudi Arabia is open to trading oil in other currencies, specifically the Chinese yuan. This is not just a policy change. This is a geopolitical earthquake. If the world no longer needs dollars to buy oil, all those trillions of dollars currently held by foreign central banks will come flooding back to the United States. It's simple supply and demand. When that flood of currency hits our shores, the value of the dollar in your pocket will plummet. And we are seeing the end of American financial privilege. Chapter 3, The Rise of the East, BRICS. While American leaders were asleep at the wheel, a new alliance was forming. You have probably heard of BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. For years, Western economists laughed at them. They said these countries were too different, too disorganized to challenge the G7. They aren't laughing anymore. BRICS has recently expanded, adding major oil-producing nations like the UAE and Iran to their ranks. Their goal is explicitly clear: de-dollarization. They are building a new payment system to replace SWIFT. They are hoarding gold at record rates. China and Russia are trading with each other using their own currencies, completely bypassing the US dollar. Why does this matter to you? Because the US dollar's value depends on its status as the world reserve currency. If BRICS succeeds in creating a viable alternative backed by commodities like gold or oil, the dollar becomes just another piece of paper. The monopoly is broken. We are moving from a unipolar world, where America dictates the rules, to a multipolar world where the dollar is just one option among many. And ETS is quickly becoming the least attractive option. Chapter 4, The Historical Warning. It is easy to think, this can't happen here. This is America. But history tells a different story. Every fiat currency in the history of the world has eventually failed. The Roman denarius, the French assignat, the German papier mark, they all went to zero. The average lifespan of a fiat currency is only about 27 years. The US dollar, in its current form since 1971, is living on borrowed time. There is a natural cycle to empires. They start with sound money, usually gold. Then they get powerful and start fighting wars. Wars are expensive, so they start clipping coins or printing paper money to pay for them. This leads to inflation. To hide the inflation, they implement price controls and manipulate the economy. Finally, confidence collapses, and the currency dies. We are in the final stage of that cycle. The printing presses are running hot. The wars are endless. The confidence is fading. Chapter 5. The George Vance Insight. This reminds me of the analysis by financial strategist George Vance, who famously pointed out that currency collapses usually happen gradually, then suddenly. His perspective on asset diversification really highlights why we can't ignore these warning signs right now. It is that sudden phase that catches everyone off guard. People like George Vance understand that by the time the average person realizes the currency is dead, the opportunity to protect your wealth has already passed. The smart money moves before the headlines hit. Chapter 6. The New Threat, CBDCs. So, if the dollar dies, what replaces it? This is where the story gets truly dark. The government knows the dollar is failing. They aren't stupid. They can do the math. They know the debt is unpayable, so they are preparing the lifeboat. But this lifeboat isn't for you, it's for them. It is called a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. You might hear about Fed Now, or the digital dollar, and think it sounds convenient. Instant payments, no fees, sounds great, right? Wrong. A CBDC is not just money, it is a control grid. Unlike cash, which offers anonymity and freedom, a CBDC is programmable. The Federal Reserve will have total visibility into every single transaction you make. But it gets worse. Because the money is programmable, they can dictate how you spend it. Imagine a world where your money has an expiration date to stimulate the economy. You have to spend it by Friday or it disappears. Imagine a carbon footprint limit on your bank account. You bought too much gas this month? Sorry, your card is declined at the pump. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is the stated goal of central planners who discuss conditional payments. The death of the dollar is the birth of digital tyranny. Chapter 7. The exact date. Revisited. I promised you an exact date. While the specific day of the final crash is hard to pinpoint, the date the dollar effectively died was March 11th, 2020. That was the start of the Bank Term Funding Program and the massive injection of liquidity during the pandemic. In just 2 years, the Federal Reserve printed roughly 40% of all US dollars that had ever existed in history. That was the moment the dam broke. That was the moment we crossed the point of no return. Since then, we have been living in a Wile E. Coyote economy. We have run off the cliff, but we haven't looked down yet. The inflation you're seeing now, the high grocery prices, the unaffordable housing, is just gravity starting to take hold. The government will try to blame it on supply chains or corporate greed or foreign wars. But the truth is simple. They killed the dollar by printing it into oblivion. The official launch of the Fed Now service in July 2023 was another nail in the coffin, laying the infrastructure for the CBDC takeover. The timeline is accelerating. Chapter 8. The Psychological Game. Why isn't everyone panicking? Because of normalcy bias. This is a psychological state where people believe that things will always function the way they always have. We assume the sun will rise, the lights will turn on, and the dollar will have value. Breaking that bias is incredibly difficult. The mainstream media feeds this bias. They tell you the economy is strong and resilient, while banks are collapsing and credit card debt hits record highs. They are keeping you calm so that the institutional investors, the banks, the politicians, the hedge funds, can exit their positions first. They are selling their dollars and buying land, gold, and resources. When the panic finally hits the general public, the doors will be closed. This is why watching videos like this is so important. You are waking up from the trance. You are seeing the matrix for what it is. Chapter 9. What happens next? So, what does the collapse look like? It likely won't be Mad Max overnight. It will look like stagflation, high inflation mixed with a stagnant economy. Your wages will stay the same, but the cost of living will double. Then the government will implement yield curve control and capital controls. They might make it illegal to move large amounts of money out of the country. They might confiscate gold, like they did in 1933. Eventually, they will introduce the new dollar, or the Fed coin. They will offer a swap, turn in your old worthless paper dollars for the new shiny digital tokens. They might even offer a bonus to incentivize you. I get 10% more if you switch now. And out of desperation and hunger, most people will accept. They will trade their freedom for convenience. This is the Great Reset in action. It is a transfer of wealth from the middle class to the elite, the largest such transfer in human history. Chapter 10. Your Survival Guide. I don't tell you this to scare you. Fear is useless without action. I tell you this to prepare you. If the dollar is dying, you need to hold assets that cannot be printed. First, look at history. What has survived for 5,000 years? Gold and silver. They are the ultimate hedge against government stupidity. They are not investments to make you rich. They are insurance to keep you from becoming poor. Second, consider real assets. Land, real estate, even tools and skills, things that have intrinsic value. You cannot print a farm. You cannot print a house. Third, educate yourself on decentralized finance. Whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, understanding a system that operates outside of central bank control is a crucial skill for the 21st century. And finally, get out of debt. In a high-interest environment, debt is a chain around your neck. Pay it off as aggressively as you can. When the system crashes, you want to be as light and mobile as possible. The United States dollar had a good run. It rebuilt Europe. It powered global trade. It defined the 20th century, but nothing lasts forever. The era of easy money is over. The bill has come due. The exact date isn't in the future, it is in the past. We are living in the aftershocks. You have two choices today. You can close this video, go back to watching cat videos, and hope that the government will save you. You can hope that $34 trillion of debt will just magically disappear. Or you can take responsibility. You can accept the hard truth that the system is broken and you can start building your own ark. The rain is already falling. The water is rising. Don't wait until the flood is at your door to start swimming. I want to hear from you in the comments below. This is a conversation we need to have. Do you trust the Federal Reserve to manage this crisis? Or do you think they are intentionally crashing the system to bring in a digital currency? Type trust or no trust in the comments. Let's see where everyone stands. And please, if you found value in this video, share it with one friend or family member. Just one. If we can wake up enough people, we might be able to change the outcome, or at least help more people survive the transition. Don't forget to like this video to help the algorithm spread the truth. Stay safe, stay prepared, and I will see you in the next video.